Sir, would you like to say something before we ask our speaker to take the platform? And
Yes, madam. I think we will continue with day 2 of the program, and I think you're looking forward to 2 lectures today. I think on performing literature search, literature review by Dr. Ashok Jarial, and which will be followed by working with reference manager software, Mr. Yogesh Kumar. So I think we are all excited to look forward to the lecture. Madam has given a wonderful introduction. And over to you, sir. And
we still have many waiting in the list. So should we wait for 5 minutes so that we can put them in?
I think we'll wait, madam. Meanwhile,
yeah. So in the meantime, sir, I apologize that I left yesterday early. I could not stay there till the end. I could not attend the concluding remarks given by Sri Devi madam. So I really apologize for that.
No problem at all, ma'am.
Madam, we understand
there was
you're
some
working
administrative
under a lot
issue
of
for which
constraints.
I had to leave.
Yes.
So I hope I am there for the entire session today. And sir, if you could just introduce yourself, Dr. Ashok, if you could just introduce yourself to our participants and talk to them for a few minutes why literature search is more important in just a casual way before you make your presentation and how important it is.
Surely, ma'am, surely. So, my name is, of course, Ashok Jarial, and I am in institute for last 20 years now. And I started getting into this literature search more for my students initially, because I realized that even while the concept of doing literature search is not difficult, but the way the technology has grown, unless we get to know the tools of technology, what we realize is even the common sense is not applicable. So the whole idea of this talk primarily is to convert what we obviously have our common sense into a tool of IT. That's all. And what I realized is that since it's like new language learning. In olden times, if you know English, it gave you opened the world for you. In the same way today, if you know IT, it opens a new world for you. So in that sense, it has changed the way we look at things. The intelligence is still the same. It's only the tools that change.
So thank you, sir. We all look forward to hear you, sir, your wisdom.
If I may say something, I listened to Dr. Ashok a couple of years back, I think, when we had the same program in AIMS. And
yes,
it was really good. And I think Dr. Ashok might not remember, but I actually had asked him to give a lecture for our students. It didn't happen. Yes, but today my students are all online, and I'm very happy that you know, they would be listening to you, and we are all looking forward to your lecture very eagerly, Dr. Ashok.
My pleasure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for remembering. Actually, I now that you spoke, I was trying to figure out suggest some familiarity, but I was not able to place it.
Yeah, there was that workshop, biological research in orthodontics workshop. So
a year back, sir. A year back when Dr. Kharbanda was hosting it from here.
Yes.
Right.
So I think, sir, we have a lot of people in, so we can get going. Otherwise, we'll miss few good points. So, sir, you can start, sir.
So yeah. So is the screen on right now? The screen share?
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
So good morning. So the topic that I'll be covering is the literature search, basically how to do online literature search. And let me. I mean, I don't have your. I'm not able to see your hands, but I'm sure all of you have actually done this search. Not necessarily literature search, but we all today use online systems to search something. So what do we search? What do we do? What we're looking for is in a formal definition terms, is something that we need. So, I mean, the upper line in the black is online literature search is concerned with identifying within a large online databases of documents, a subset of documents whose content is most relevant to users' need. And in simple terms, we need to find what we need from the database sets. Now, the question which I ask myself every time I have to take this lecture is, do we really need to be told how to do literature search? all of you are using the IT systems for searching clothes, mobiles, airline tickets, everything is done online. So you are aware of how to do it. But why do we told again about it? So if we look at the challenges that we face today are these. First, the huge amount of information that is rapidly increasing. And what we know from the WhatsApp is also an IT system that we really don't know what's right, what's wrong. So it's a huge number of information. There are large number of sources available, offline as well as online. What we need is not to be, nobody can see all the information. We need to be able to sieve out the information and obtain relevant information. And lastly, the curse of today's IT system, authenticity of information. And this is the, if you can see the cartoon, which says, the student is asking the teacher, what do you mean all my facts are wrong? I copied everything straight off the internet. Or some of us who are in 40s and 50s, before the internet came into being, for us to search literature meant going to the library. It had only few books, few journals. It was easier because the guide knew the same thing, student knew the same thing, and there was small literature available. Today, situation has changed drastically, that the amount of information is just too much. Then why do it systematically? If it's available, benefit one, it saves time. Now you might say that, how does it save time? Because in my understanding is, if you are looking for a good question to find out from the literature, it takes about 3 to 4 months of finding out, because to be able to say what is not known, you should need to know what is known. And that's where the whole problem lies. So number two, it makes it efficient because you want to do literature search multiple times. Nobody is going to find a question in one day. Nobody is going to get their literature in one day. You will come, sit once a week, twice a week, thrice a week, come back again next month, come back again next month. So you're going to keep the process redoing the same thing again and again, not necessarily a new thing. And of course, you want to get what you want. And of course, I'll just share later that it depends upon in which state of our research we are in. That so when you're starting a research, you're looking for a question. When you are in the middle of your research, you're looking for troubleshooting issues. When you're in the discussion, when you're writing a thesis, when you're publishing a paper, it's a different set of literature that you want to search. The thoroughness is something which is very difficult to judge, because if I have to give a seminar, I'm looking for review articles, maybe 2 or 3 would do. I'll read up the topic and I will give my seminar. But when you're looking for a research question, then you just don't want to get 1 or 2 articles. You want to be sure.
Sir, sorry if I may interrupt you for a little bit. There are some people who are saying that they are not able to see your screen very clearly. There are some black spots. I can see it, but I don't know what the problem is.
Top of the screen, there is a black bar.
Okay.
I think if you can log in and re-share it, I think it will be better.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's gone now.
Yeah, I think the Zoom bar was there.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've made the changes. Right.
Thank you, sir. That's clear now.
Yeah. Thank you. So if I just could go back quickly, if you need to, the first slide basically was why do we need to be told, and the second was why do it systematically. So as I was saying that doing systematically helps because if you see the last quote, which is quoted to referred to Einstein, it says, "I am not that smart. It is just that I stay with my problems longer." So when you're looking for finding a good question for research purposes, you just have to stay it for very, very long time. And if you're going to stay it for a long time, better do it systematically so that your efforts are not wasted. And the next question is, when should we do a good literature search? Obviously, the best time is before you start your research. And if I list out the reasons for rejection, because all of us in the end, when we are doing our research, want to publish it in today's world. So the reason for rejection is, number one, top is the mortuary level flaws. Nothing you can do about your paper, thesis, because the question that you asked was outdated, trivial, it was a poor study design, inappropriate method, plagiarism. After 3 or 4 years of work, your thesis will not be published because of these reasons. And perhaps it is for these reasons that we must do literature search before we embark on the study, and it must be thorough. You can't reach in the middle of thesis and realize, oh my God, my method is wrong. Oh, I did a poor design because I didn't read that paper. These are the issues. Therefore, I always feel that you must take about 3 to 4 months before you embark on any research study. So before starting research is the right time. Now, what level of skill do we need to be able to do it right? How much skill would I need to be able to do the research properly? And to me, like I was saying in the beginning, it's about the same common sense that we utilize for all our daily purposes, including, and I take this example of buying a mobile phone. So let's take this example developed. So you've been asked to buy
Sir, sorry again to interrupt, but again, there is the bar at the bottom. Can you stop share screen and then try logging back again into your screen?
Or should I do that?
Yeah, could you do that, please? Sorry, but now the patches are becoming larger, actually.
Is it? Very surprising. Yeah. Okay.
I think you can share out and then again reshare. Share in.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay. Right. So, yeah. So, what I was sharing was let us take a common example that we all have experience with, and we will try the same principles onto when we do literature search. So, so you've been asked by somebody, your guide, who's been asked by superior, who was asked by HOD to buy a mobile phone, which is to be gifted to a lab technician who's superannuating. So, what are we going to do? What does one do? So I'm giving certain options. I'm sure you got many more options in your mind. You go to the nearest shop, pick up a mobile, you ask a friend to help in searching, you check newspaper or TV ads, you go to big shop. So we look at places where we all have different methods by which we will choose. Now I change the scenario. Instead of the first scenario, now the scenario is different. You want to give a mobile to a person whom you consider very close to you on the person's birthday. Do we have the same plan? Answer obviously is no. Most of us will decide our plans depending upon what we call motivation. Now, the literature search is useless if you are not motivated. So now, as an academician, we will do literature search for 2 or 3 purposes. Like when I say that you have to give a talk or seminar for a half an hour, 1 hour, job done, you move on. Then you will look for just to pass, to get through, get your seminar done. Other is you are a clinician and you want to get the latest drug treatment and you want to see what are the side. For example, we're looking at COVID today and you want authentic information, practice guidelines. So that's a separate thing. So that's for application purposes. And the last is the research, where you're looking for a new good question. Now, all 3 have got different aspects to it. I'm today covering only the research aspect of it because the guideline aspect is not covered majorly by the permit search that I'll be teaching you. So I assume that all of you are here because you're motivated to do research. And let us assume that you're motivated. Coming back to the same the scenario which I was discussing, that you want to give the best mobile within the budget. Where do you go for purchasing? Now there are multiple options here again. You go to the shop that you know about, you ask friends for good shops, you go to gray market, you want to save some money. You go to stores operated by mobile companies themselves, you go to big expensive mall with lots of choices. So what is important is appropriate place. This is again an issue. For most of us, the appropriate place today is PubMed. But we must realize that I will show you that there are hundreds and hundreds of databases available worldwide. PubMed is just one of them, though the largest and the most commonly used by all of us. But there are other databases as well. Then next question, you have chosen a big mobile, like you have chosen a PubMed. How do you go looking for your mobile phone in the shop? Do you see all the mobiles one by one yourself? Or you ask somebody to help you out? The person may ask you what kind of mobile you need, what specifications you have, whether it's Android based, whether it's a Google platform, or it's the other platforms. They may ask you what features, do you want a good camera? What features do you want? So ultimately, the person is going to ask us, the one who's going to buy, as to what do you need. The same thing happens to us when we go for literature search. We should be sure as to what we're looking for, because you just can't type in few keywords and automatically expect the database to pop you and give you the topic that you need. Doesn't happen that way. Some effort has to be done before you even step onto the IT systems as to what do I need. So we need to evolve a strategy. Again, I'll be sharing this with you. Now, when you have done the search, when you have found your mobile phone, you do take it. This is what you've bought. You give it to a technician or you give it to your friend, and you evaluate the results. And then depending upon your result, you manage the results. The part of the management of what you got from the IT systems, I think Dr. Yogesh will be covering later. I will just give you a brief clue about it as to how do we manage, because that's again an important part as to how to manage the result that we've obtained. So motivation is there. Now let's move on to the appropriate place. So where is the appropriate place? So this is I'm using the web browser within the PowerPoint. So you can see over here the list of academic databases and search engines. This is a Wikipedia source. I'm going to just scroll down, and we start from top. And you can just, I'm going to scroll down very fast just to show you how many databases are available worldwide. So let us see. I'm just scrolling down. Some of them are free, some of them are subscription based, different countries. These are all the databases of available worldwide. We tend to use only one of them, which is the PubMed. So you got Chinese database, you got Russian databases, you got Latin American databases, just separate. You may or may not get access through the PubMed itself. Now, let me go to the next one. So in an appropriate place, we need to evolve a strategy. So before, it's like when you go to a mall, you realize that all malls have got certain placement systems. So the food and the food courts and the theater on top, there is level for men's clothing, level for women's clothing, and all that. They have got a system. If you are aware of the organization of the mall, you can search the mall better and be more efficient. And similarly, you can query better. So let us look at how whatever IT system that we have for, say, a research paper, how it's organized. That's called database systems. And how do we query the system? So what is a database? Database is nothing but collection of records. So every paper, every manuscript is one record. It's like similar to Aadhaar card. All my information is one of my record, and different components. For an Aadhaar, I have got name, age, fingerprints as separate fields. Similarly, for a PubMed, I've just shown in the right side, there's a title, author, language, source. These are all small fields. So every paper that we see on the PubMed actually is broken down into these small fields and stored in the backend. Okay. So this is the number of fields in Medline. So also you must remember that PubMed is not an index. Medline is the index. PubMed is the domain where you can access Medline and other databases of PubMed. PubMed is just a small part of the, again, NIH, the National Institute of Health Library, NLM, of which Medline is the indexing system, and the PubMed is the publication of that Medline database. So you can see that each article, every single article, is broken down into these pieces, and that information is kept. We only need to know very few. Others are for the experts if they really want to use it. So this is today, I'm showing, again, this is a live of the search screen. So I'm using, again, I told you that I'm using a web browser component of the PowerPoint where I can directly do it live. So what do we do these days is that if I have to search something, I will type in. So let's say I'm typing a word cardiac, and you see I get a drop-down list of autofill. This is something called autofill feature. Now this is not just a simple field, what to say, the spelling correction. This is a system like population coding system way. People have been searching in this particular manner, and therefore this comes. So when I do a search, when I put a cardiac, and if I press in, it'll take a little longer because I'm going live on this. So I get certain articles. So I get a list of about, how many are these? 17 lakh articles for cardiac. Obviously, nobody can go through this. So I will have to do something to do my search. Now, I need to also bring you to your notice the yellow bar over here. Last 4 months, the PubMed has been trying to get onto a new system. I will be touching this in the later part of the talk. First, I will stick to the main, because if you realize it is in May, it is going to become they're going to change the whole system. So I will share that with you. So right now I'm running the older system. Again, look at the databases system. So what we do is we normally search for something called as PubMed over here. If you can see, we are searching only for PubMed, but the library has large number of databases. For example, NLM catalogs or the protein databases, protein clusters. So for literature, we tend to stick to the PubMed, and I'll touch couple of things like mesh database also. This is very important for searching. So you got bookshelves, you got mesh database, journals in NCBI databases, certain handbooks which are available, PubMed and PubMed Central. PubMed Central, of course, is the place where you get the full access to the articles. So going to the next component, how do we start? So searching a database, I think the first and most starting point is to search the keywords. How do we determine keywords? So if you are the first come and say, I'm looking for, let us say in the dental sphere, I want to look for orthodontics, some topics, sit down for 5 minutes, try and think of the keywords. This is the same advice we always got when we used to write our answers in the theory exams. We were told, before you start writing, take about half an hour, minute, 2 minutes to write down the points on which you're going to write, so that later you don't miss the point. In the same way, before you start typing to the computer, looking for your articles, best to do just sit down for some time, look for key concepts, key authors, key method that you think you're going to search. Also look for synonyms which you may be utilizing. And if you look on the image on the left side, there's a problem with this guy. It says, it's fantastic, I can find out the exact weather outside this exact house at the exact moment, all on the internet. The poor chap, all I got to do is turn around and look outside the window. There are sometimes when we look for things on the internet about things that we are available in the lab. So my suggestion to all those who are going to do research, always read the lab's paper, because that's the place where you're going to work. The guide, they are published for last 10-15 years. They have a series of publication that will give you an insight as to what you're going to do. Because ultimately, even if I come with a good question, if I don't have the tools, I will not be able to work on it. So it is always good to know what your lab's facility are, what they've been working upon, to get the key questions, the key keywords, the key authors that you can search with. That helps you out quite a lot. So we were just go back again to the online system. So here again, I'm putting, let us say, a word contraction. And as I'm typing in, you start getting contraceptives to contraction to what all, which sort of fits the spelling of the word. And if I put contraction, and if I will do enter, I will get the databases. Something is not connecting now. Okay. Maybe I'll just have to go, I think, to the direct line. So let me go to the PubMed directly. Just hold on, please. So let me go here again. So I put the word contraction. I do the search. So I get huge number of articles. What do I do with these? Okay. All right. I got it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me. So I think now the screen must be on, this share screen.
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Yeah. So because I'm not able to run this thing through the PowerPoint, so I'll have to come back to this. Yeah. So what I was showing you was that I was putting the word contraction up. Now, if I wanted to have words like contraction only in the title, because if you see over here, this particular number 1, it shows electrical stimulation, denervated muscles after spinal cord injury. It does not show word contraction. That is because I haven't told the system that you look only in the title. So I can write TI in the bracket and now search. So now I will get only the articles which have word contraction somewhere in their title. As you can see now over here, all the articles, number 1, number 2, number 3 are having this. But you could say that not every person may have written the word contraction. Somebody may have written contractile, somebody may have written contractility or contractions. What do we do then? Then I use something called as a wildcard. I just go back and I put a star mark here. So I put contract star, and I will again do the same thing. I will search again. So what you see now is that I get articles. I'll show you a couple of them. So I get contraction. This is number 1. I get contraction. Then I get contract. And if I go down, I also get contractility. In contractions, number 6. So by using this, what is called as a wild card, it may be helpful. For example, looking for myocardium or cardium or words like that. Till this, of course, you must remember today the systems can't differentiate between a cardiac versus heart. So there is no semantic correction. So if you are searching for something, you may have to sometimes do heart pump, cardiac contracted. You have to make combinations. So I may go for heart, and I may say, and I need something else. I say I need heart. Again, I want this is in title. So I want both the thing in the title. I want contraction, contractility, as well as heart in title. Suddenly you realize here, if you can see, my filter is activated. This the review filter is activated. I'll clear the review filter. I will see about 2,981 items. And in all these items, all them, you will see that I am getting contractile and heart in picture. I may have missed out on articles where there was cardium or cardiac. Then what do? So I can go cardiac. Will I get the same articles? Of course not. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake in the, this has to be R, cardiac. So again, I get a different set of articles. So by not using the appropriate keyword, I could have missed the articles which had the heart in it, or I could have missed the article which had cardiac in it. Is there a way out? Then there is a way out in something called as mesh. So what do is I go to something called as MESH, medical subject heading, and I put heart. So I'm looking how the system is organized. Here you can see over here that I have got search results of heart. Let me click on heart. So it says heart is a hollow muscular organ. It shows how the data is organized. So there are different different subheadings under heart. I can look up microbiology, pathogenicity, virology of heart, physiology or pharmacology of heart. And if I go below, I see that how the system is organized. So under cardiovascular system, I've got heart. What I can do is I can go up, use this add to search builder. So I build heart, mesh, no exception, and search permit. So now I get all the articles which are bracketed under heart as and then I say use again contract star TI, and now I search. So I'm saying use the whole database. So I'm likely to get articles of both together, because I'm not saying look for word heart or look for word cardiac. I'm saying look for the articles within the organization of the word heart as a larger subject heading. This is the way the mesh is to be used. So we can use the mesh topics to get the keywords right. So I could use for, say, orthodontics, mesh term. So I get orthodontics, and in the orthodontics, if I click, I will get how it's organized. So I can look for something like adverse effects with orthodontics or statistics and numerical data. In this way, you can actually go on. Even so, if I wanted to do methods in orthodontics or nursing orthodontics or mortality, I just click on them, add to search builder, and search permit. And then I can keep on typing whatever I want in front of it to decrease the kind of searching. So this is the way mesh is utilized. Now, if I go to the next is the advanced systems. What I was doing was typing something TI behind. Do we have to really learn about it? Know about it? No, answer is no. So what I go here, I do heart. Search heart in title or abstract. I can say only in title. Then I say this and or not. Mostly we tend to use and rather than not. Not is something like I don't want this, which very rarely do we use. We generally want I want this as well as that, a combination of that. So I could use or title because I'm looking for cardiac as well. Again, I go for title. So this or this cardiac, and I want something as title contraction. So here I'm using a trick. I'm putting a star. Now I do a search. So I'm looking. You have either heart. So now if you can see over here, I'm getting articles are larger than this because I'm using heart or cardiac and this way. If I had used only heart and contract, I would have gotten about 2000 articles. If I had cardiac and contract, I have gotten 3000 articles. So by the system, I get from both the sides. This is the way I will use the feature of. So all the synonyms that you're going to look for, put them as or, the keyword otherwise as and. If I go back, you could change this and you could use other things. For example, if you're looking for a very specific author that you want to search, you can go in for the author. Where is the author? Yeah. So you could go. I wanted to look for, let us say, Jarial, and I wanted to see whether he's got any publications in this field. And field, let us say check everywhere. So I could go for heart now. So if I did a search now, so it will find out anybody who's with the surname Jarial and who has some publications with the heart in it. So I can also search in this way because sometimes why do we need this? Sometimes we are looking for a particular paper. I want to see whether this author has got good work in that domain because that's the experience that which tells us. So in advanced features, I can utilize any of these options. I could go any of these options. You can practice it out, whether it's a language. We hardly do language these days because the Google translation is quite helpful. So now going back, so let me go back to the PowerPoint slide, and let me just change the share component. So I go back to the slide. Yeah. So what I've shared with you is a couple of things. Number one was the wildcard, the field restriction tag, which was I was typing in TI or TIAB or AEU. You can either type it in or you can actually go to the advanced search feature and let the system do it for you. In the advanced feature, we also saw the Boolean operators and or not. Usually mostly we use and, sometimes we use or, like I showed you that if you wanted to have, if there were synonyms that you had to utilize, go for or feature. If you wanted to do multiple component and one article with that, then you go for and feature. Not feature, sometimes you may use that I want this group of patients, but not having diabetes or not having hypertension. Then you can say that remove the hypertension from abstract, something that you can do. So now whatever we get, the couple of things I'll tell you. about filters, sort by, send to, and links. Very useful stuff. Again, I'll shift to the browser. So let me go to the browser now. Yeah. So let me go back to the browser. So when we search something, again, I'll go to contractions, contract star, search in TIAB. TIAB means title and abstract. I say, and you don't have to write and you say cardiac, and I say TI. So it will give me all the articles with this kind of search features. So I get about 13,000 articles. On the left side, if you see, there are filters, article type, whether the text is available as abstract, full, publication dates, human, non-human. You may utilize, there are additional fields, additional filters. So you could say different languages or gender-wise or subject-wise or different journal categories. If I say journal categories, if I show it over here, you can see whether it's a Medline journal, dental journal, nursing journals, what kind of journals you're looking for. If I say show additional filters, I could go show me the ages. So it could show you whether you're looking for. So if I say I want only this age group, so my number of articles which I see will of course automatically change. Suddenly you realize that I've got only 1100 articles with this age group, or I could go for 65 plus age group. So now these are only filters. So they are filtering as to what you're getting from your main search. So you can just clear the filters to show you all the items. Okay. So this is the feature, something which I wanted to share with you. The next is, if you see over here, send to, a very important feature. Let us say while doing your search, you come across a very good article, which you think that you or your teacher or your student or somebody needs to know. For example, this particular article, number 1, was extremely useful to me. So what do? I will take it and I will say, okay, send it by email. So I will email it to myself or to whomsoever you want it. So I will put in the email ID and send the article to them. This helps in sort of sharing the article that you've come once in a while. The other part, let us say that the article number 3 was very useful article to you, and this is a really important article. Go to that. I'm looking at the 4th article. You felt this article was good for you. Now you click on that article, go to that article, and go on the lower right side. You can notice over here, this particular page on the right side. Let me go back, show you again. See reviews, see all. This is a very useful feature. So if I put see all, what does it do? What the system does it looks at the whole PubMed data set, brings me 60 articles, which are very similar to this paper which I clicked. Kindly note, this was a paper I clicked upon. I said, search similar, see all. It gave me 60 articles. Now, how does this search? What it does is, it looks at the keywords, it looks at the whole paper, looks at the word similarity between the two publications, and gives a weightage to the title, gives the appropriate weightage to the methods and abstracts. The whole algorithm is almost like an AI. It picks up the article which are very similar. And the number it is going to get you will not be large. It will be about maybe 60 or 70. So what I do is, if I get a very important article, something which is very relevant to me, I will do this. Maybe I find, okay, second one is good, third one is good, fourth one is well, click on this again. Oh, this is also a good article for me. Again, I'll repeat the activity. Again, I'll say see all. What you will realize that what tends to happen is, the same group of article will start coming back to me again, because they're all related. So if I do the activity maybe 10 or 15 times, do the similar searches. So while searching, if you had found maybe 10, 15 articles which are very useful to you, I thought this is the kind of article you're looking for, put that article, go for say similarity or see all. And if you do it maybe 10, 15 times, very unlikely that you will miss a good article. You will be basically going through all the articles. That has been very useful to me, as it makes sure that I don't miss a good article at all. Then the other important feature which you should all use is send to something called as collection. So let us say I did get these 4 articles which I found were very useful. Okay, so I say, okay, these are good articles for me. I click them. I go to send to component and click on collections and add to collections. Now, what are these collections? These collections are the collections which I have my own sort of a net space in the PubMed, in the NCBI. It says 4 items from PubMed. What do you like to do? Create a new collection or have append to an existing collection. So let me show you my existing collection. This is what I've been doing on the PubMed for a very long time. These are my collections. How did I make this collection? So I say, no, click a new collection. I say, I want, this is a trial. So I say trial and save this. It is saving somewhere. Where is it saving? This already exists. Let me put a trial 2. Okay, lots of them exist. So trial 20. So I'm saving this article, these 4. Okay. Yeah. So if you see on the top bar of NCBI over here, top right side, my email ID is there, and there's something called my NCBI. This is the way I have logged in. So you can use Gmail account to log into your NCBI, and let me show you what my NCBI does. So whatever I've saved now, 4 articles are saved on the PubMed over here. If you can see, trial 20. So all the articles which I have put in are saved into my account. So what happens is, over the years which I've been searching, I'm doing, so I put, let us say I was doing mind body something, I was reading about it, I felt these were good articles for me, so I keep collecting here, and as I come across new articles, I keep adding to it. So if I was I got, let us say mind body, I let me do a new search, mind and TI and body in title, and I did this search and I got this article. Let us, this is a new article which I had not seen. So I will again do this, put it up and say send to the collection, because I've already have this collection on my database, because I've been doing this for some time. I will go there and add to the collection of the mind body which I had done earlier. Okay, I could add this. So what happens is, even if I duplicate, it won't get duplicated in the system. It will be only one entry. So by this, I can keep on adding. So if you see what I do generally when I'm writing a paper. So I write, for example, FMD with CAD, FMD with meds, or HRV with mental stress, HRV with LBNP. So I will make it, then I can join them together. So again, I go back to NCBI. So while writing a paper or while writing a thesis, I will say, oh, this article is good for discussion. Oh, this article is good for introduction. This article is good for methodology. So I will create different. So I will write HRV, create different names, and then later I can manage them. So what happens in management is that I will take manage collections. If I click on manage collections, I will have and say, okay, trial 20 and trial 20, you can merge them. So I can merge the two. So if I have been collecting my articles for my thesis or for my research, putting them as, oh, this article is good for introduction, this article is good for methodology, this is good for discussion. Later I can merge them together and say final collection or something like that. And I can merge the two. So this helps me in organizing my searches. Otherwise, what happens is that you do a search today, where do you keep it? My suggestion is, don't use any system other than the PubMed's own system for initially doing this job. Later, we can use something else like Zotero. If you can see on the top side, something else comes Zotero, or the other systems like Mendeley are very useful, but not in the initial phases. As long as searching, you keep searching with this. So this was the merging system. So I'll go back to the PubMed. Okay. So again, back to the send to features. So the useful features are, I think I would suggest only to use the email system or the collection system. The rest of them are not that useful for management. I'll switch. Okay. Now, the time is also for now about. Okay. Yeah. So back to the PowerPoint. So we have, I just spoke to you about the, then there are general databases and clinical trials and query database of the PubMed. So if you go, I'll show that to you later. So again, then we saw the collections, bibliography, and automated email IDs. So you can also configure the permit that if you've done a particular search or particular keywords and you want that the permit should automatically send it the new ones if they come to you, it can also be done. Okay, so what do we do once I've got certain articles? So let me just show you quickly. I use Zotero, has been useful to me. People also use Mendeley and other systems. So let us say I have done my searches and I am now writing my Word document, and I wanted to put these articles into my referencing system. So what I do is I click on this. Per page I make it 60. The reason I'm making 50 is because I've got 35 articles, and I say, so I get all 35 articles. You can see over here, all 35 articles. So I get all the articles in the sheet. Then on top, I go here. If you can see on the right side, save to Zotero. I click on it. Now Zotero is a freely available software, and it will okay, it's not loaded, and it will take the all the articles and in a way give it to you to be able to handle. This is a software management systems for handling the resources. See, usually what people used to do earlier, I used to do earlier when these systems came up, were these. If I needed an article, I used to go 1, I used to do this 2, 3, and then I say, okay, now what to do? Or I would copy them, put it onto a right click, copy, and then put it onto Word document. That used to be so much of wastage of time, and it used to be totally unorganized.
Sir, can you please shift the screen again to Zotero?
Okay.
We are only able to see your presentation at the moment.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, I think it's good. Okay, resume share. So I'm back on. Looks like I'm back on the permit screen. Is it?
Yes, sir. The permit screen is visible right now.
Yeah. So on the right side, I was just showing that here's the Zotero, save to Zotero. So if you click on Zotero, you will get the Zotero running. Okay. Troubleshooting with this. Okay. So Zotero is a freely available software. You have two versions of it, the online version and the offline version. So this is connecting to it. So what I get is, if you see, I got the list of all the 35 articles here. The 3 which I clicked are here. So if I say select all or deselect all. So since this was from my own collection, I'll select all of them. And I say, okay. As I say, okay, it starts saving to Zotero. So again, I will have my login things for Zotero, and it will be saved there. The best part is that I will be able to very easily insert any of these articles into my Word document as I type it in. So you can see that it will take me somewhere and do the job. So I'll just close this for now. And I will show you one Word document where how I enter it. So I'll again switch to, looks like Word. New share. Just a moment, I'll just open Word document so that we can. Yeah. Just opening up the Word document, then I will put it on share. So I'm sharing now the Word document on screen. Is the Word document visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yeah. So if you see on my Word, on the top, there is something called Zotero mentioned already over there, because this I've downloaded the plugin. So when you download it, the system will guide you. It will say Word in plugin for Zotero, plugin for Mendeley. I say add citation. I click on the add citation. I think this someone's not communicating with it. So if I could do this, it will show me if I have to just go right. It will show me the list of articles. If I could actually, sorry, I'm not able to connect now right now, and then I just put the referencing system in. So what you have to do is go to the Word document. There'll be a plugin of Zotero that you download, and it'll be able to you'll be able to add. I think I'm not able to connect to the plugin right now. That's okay. So I'll switch back to the PowerPoint. Yeah. Now, apart from the PubMed, there is this Shimago Journal ranking system that will be useful for you to be aware of. Just check this online. And I feel that there are certain additional skills that we all need to learn while we are using these systems. And one is, of course, to learn and type to learn to type properly. Now, why I think this is a very important skill for all of us to learn, not just doing typing with 2 fingers that we do, but to be able to use all the 10 fingers to be able to type fast. Because most of us are using pen these days only for signing the letters and some recommendations. Now, otherwise, we all type on for sheets. If you can type 10 times faster than the other person, you are saving 10 times the time. So if you take about 10 minutes to type a page and somebody takes only 2 minutes to type a page, obviously the person who takes 2 minutes is saving life. If I was doing one calculation that how much time actually we're going to save, I think about in a 30 or 40 years of our academic life, if you learn typing, you'll save more life, which is wasted on typing, than perhaps gaining by exercise. Then you should use to learn citation systems, because after you've done the search, if you don't keep it properly, you will lose it. And point number 3, learn to identify authentic information. The one way which I use to find authentic information is, let us say I found some article which was giving a very, very dramatic results, and I was basing my research on it. I will cross-check the author's ability, meaning I will click on the author and see whether the author has some history of publication. Because if somebody is making a very, very tall claim and has never published in the past, then there is doubt. I doubt whether the person is actually publishing properly, because ultimately nobody goes and checks individual authors' lab data. We all trust people, and we have seen that even in the biggest journals like Nature, Lancet, people have faked data, people have fudged data. I mean, we are getting so much information these days regarding COVID. I mean, the whole controversy about the HCQ data regarding what's working or not working is doubtful. So in the same way, any article that you get on the PubMed does not mean it is authentic. There's a trust factor. People do break trust, and my suggestion would be that whenever you find some article which is very important for you, cross-check authors' capabilities by looking at their earlier publications. How do you do that? Just click on the author name. It's all linked, and you'll get their past publications. Point number 4, develop patience, because literature search does take a huge amount of time. You can't get the good article or a good question in a week's time. It will take few months, if not a year, to get a good article or the good research question. Then let me last slide, which I'll be closing, is read the help file available on the websites, because I have told you certain ways based on my own way. I've been doing this for last 20 years, and we started with CDs which used to come from USA. We used to put them on desktops and run them. Then the LAN system turned to now today it's on mobiles and it's on internet easily available. So there's a design which I show you, and there's a user experience on the right side. Most of us are going to go by our own ways, but the help files show you the design of the system, and you can devise it in your own way. In the beginning, I had told you that I'll be talking about the new PubMed, which is coming. I will just give you a glimpse of it, because after a month's time, all of us will be using that. But the basic idea remains the same. So I'll shift the screen share back to the PubMed. So this is traditionally all of us have been looking at the PubMed. So if I shift the system, let me just show you how that. Let us say I was looking at this particular. Let me do a search again. So I put cardiac in title, and I put contractions in title. I'm not going for the wildcard. I'll shift to the new PubMed. I click here. So what you see now is a very different design. It still has the same thing, cardiac in title, contraction in title. It still has the advanced features. It still has now, but reorganized. So I get 177 articles over here. They are listed one down. If you can see, it shows only 10 to me. Then I say show more, it'll show me more. And similarly, I can keep going down. So it's slightly different system. And you can also, it has taken a little bit of, I would say, the social media design, where it has share system over here. I can share. On the left side are the filters the way we were doing earlier. So I say only show me the abstracts. So it will show you the abstracts. Or you could say clear all. You could, the filter that we were speaking of, they totally changed the whole design now. You have to recreate your filters. So if you can go over here, you can see the filters now, popular filters, English language, or property filters. So it can, if you see property filters, it's like age groups. So the same thing which we saw in the early design is available here as well, but in a different way. So I could say age group, different age groups, I can utilize them, or gender, or publication type, and bibliography, or whatever you can choose these, say clinical trial, phase 4 trial. The moment you do that, it comes on the left side and you can create your custom filters. So it's more versatile. The more versatile it is, more difficult it becomes to run it. But so whatever I have told you earlier, everything is the same, but the way to approach it is going to change in by a month's time. You can email it to yourself the way we could do earlier, or you could save it wherever you wanted to save the same way, which we're doing earlier. All results on the same page. What format do you want? Or you could do send to, the same thing to go to collection. But instead of taking it to a new page, it actually does something on the main page itself. So I could again do the same, that okay, send it to HRB and mental stress, add or make a new collection. Everything remains the same. The way you're going to do it is going to change. Display option, the way we used to see earlier. So I say display by publication date. Then it will, so let me just clear this up. So there are 177 results. It says display options, publication date. I could reverse it. So it is giving from 1927. I could change it to display option to publication date reverse. So it will put the latest first. Now it will be 2020 now instead of 1927. There are other display options you could go for, is these 3 most recent, best match, and stuff like that. So if I click on this, again, the whole system has changed. If I click on the article, you see on the left and right side, I get next result. Next result. I can keep switching. So it goes horizontally. So you can go back to previous results. If you go down, you see the earlier we used to have this similar article feature, which I used to use the right click and has to go down and has to say see all feature. They have made it over here now as similar articles. So if I go up, every article that I will have the authors, will have on the right side, if you see, conflict of statement, figures, similar articles, references. So they have changed the way you access the articles. And I finding this part pretty good, especially this similar article on the same page itself. Very useful feature. Then immediately, if you like an article, you like this article, you can email it to somebody, you can save it, or you can send to your own collections, whichever way you want it. So they have only kept now 4 of them. Earlier, if you see, they had large number of send to options. That decreased the number send to options over here. So this is the new PubMed. I think all of us by mid-May, as PubMed is saying, this is going to become the new feature. So this is I go back to the legacy feature, the PubMed legacy. That's we're calling it as a legacy now rather than the new PubMed. But the features are the same, totally same. The way we access are going to change. So those who have been using PubMed earlier need not get much worried. The basic feature is going to remain same. This is more, I would say, social kind of media cover with better colors. So you can put them as favorites, or you can tweet, or you can do PubMed, and all those features they've added. So I think with this, I close my talk, and I'll be happy to take some questions if anybody wants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok. Dr. Aditya, are you there?
Yeah.
I think people have asked some questions in the chat. Just read them out.
Oh, is it? Sure.
Yes, sir.
Let me just check that. Oh, there's lots of chat. Okay. There are a couple of questions. There are lots of questions actually. Let me take them from top to bottom, from below upwards. No, I would. One is that there's a question whether it's a best match option in PubMed. I would say don't go for the best match in the initial part. Best match, go later on. Best match is the same thing as see all kind of link. Don't go for best match. Go for the downward from the publication date. Then search engine and database. Search engine searches the database. So the question was, what is the difference between search engine and database? Database is like a library, and search engine is the one who goes and searches inside it. So two different things. So Google is the search engine. The PubMed is the search engine. Medline is the database. Then there is the question regarding how do we check whether some article is PubMed or not. So we don't need to check whether the article is PubMed. What we need to check is whether the article is Medline indexed. Let me show you how to do it. I'll switch to the share. That's a very important question somebody's asked. How to check whether the article is Medline indexed or not. Okay, a very interesting question. I will switch the share to the browser. Yeah. So I wanted to see whether an article is PubMed indexed or not, Medline index. So here I get PMID, PubMed index, and PMCID. So these are the ID of the PubMed. If I take it down, okay. I'm going back to the legacy mode. And just to show you something.
और इसमें दो चीजें इम्पोर्टेंट है. मेरे को जो शेयर करनी है, मेरा ब्राउजर शेयर करना है और एक बार वर्ड शेयर करना है. तो वो शेयरिंग की ऑप्शन
शेयरिंग्स में हम इस कंप्यूटर से हम करते हैं.
So if you have the PMID on this, look at this PMID. I go to the journal. I click on the journal and say search journal in the catalog in PubMed. Sorry. Back. Search journal in the catalog. So I get, if you see, I get the full about journal, and here, where is it? Okay. So in PubMed, this particular article, I would say, is not indexed for Medline. Can you see over here? Not indexed for Medline. Okay. So that means this particular journal is available on PubMed, but it is not indexed for Medline. These are called as NLM catalog journals. That's why don't think that everything that is on PubMed is Medline index. Two different things. Okay. So back to the other questions. So that was the question regarding PubMed is in PubMed. Okay. In the article type shows systematic review or literature. I have to check that. I didn't check that. Okay. You don't have to pay anything for any new PubMed or any, no payment. Even for logging in, no payment, Google is useful. You want to do specific filters, you can type in the dates also. So if you go for the advanced search, you can type in the year or whatever date you want to change. So if I go to advanced, you can take your field. Oh, so this was the, okay. So you have to go to filters, not here. You have to go to filters. In the filters, you will be able to do that. All that also, dates can be changed. First author, how do I get it to permit? PubMed, the permit individually we cannot put article in PubMed. The journals have to do that, so we can't put our article in PubMed. Journals will have to do that for us. Okay. There were a couple of later questions, which were these. Again, somebody's again asking the question regarding Medline indexing and PubMed. See, index is Medline. This existed before the internet came in. So Medline is the database of US which maintains all the names of journals and all articles published. PubMed is a way of making it available on the internet. PubMed is a larger thing. It has also journals which are not Medline indexed. The way I was showing the one over here, the Cardiology Research Journal is not PubMed indexed. If currently, please look at here, not indexed. So there are two different things. Somebody asked the question that if you can save articles on PubMed, do we need Zotero? Answer is yes. You can save articles on the PubMed, on the other NCBI. NCBI you can save, but when you want to insert it into a Word document, you will need some citation manager. So Zotero is one of the citation manager. There are other citation managers as well. So you do need PubMed, the Zotero or Mendeley or any other system later on. Yeah, you do need. Right. Sci-Hub. Okay, there are multiple ways of using Sci-Hub. One is the PMID. If you can't get through PMID, then you can put in the title of the article into the Sci-Hub. It will try and get. See, Sci-Hub gives you about 99.99% articles, so no worries. Yes, somebody is asking that how do we keep track of it? Medline indexing is reviewed for every journal, I think on a yearly basis. So it's not necessary that a journal which is PubMed index today will be PubMed in the index after a year. It may not be. Or somebody which is not indexed today may get indexed Medline index after a year or so. So that's something which we have to. And do we have to create individual PubMed account? Yes, you have to create an not a PubMed account, but actually we have to have the NCBI account on top. My NCBI login is simple. So yeah. Yes, wildcard can be used also in advanced search. That's correct. I think. My pleasure. Thank you very much. But again, I said, all of us will have to get used to the newer PubMed. I'm also getting hang of the newer one. So I still tend to go back to the legacy PubMed instead of using the new PubMed. So last 4 months they have been trying this out. So I've tried in between, but even my we get used to have a sort of a say habit factor. The view I tend to go back to the legacy PubMed rather than this PubMed. But I think all of us will be forced to use this later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok, sir, for the wonderful presentation. I think the questions keep coming. I think going on endlessly. So I think end it here, and we thank you so much for sharing your experience.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you very much.
I think now over to Dr. Aditya for the next lecture. That is working with reference manager software by Mr. Yogesh Kumar.
Good afternoon to all of you, those who are watching me in this COVID epidemic time. And due to years, more than 400 plus delegates are participating. My lecture is now on bibliography management. And so first of all, that the managing this bibliography management, normally people were using cut paste kind of activity. There are some softwares available. So we will start. This is now on air. Browser. Can I check? The browser is on air.
No, sir. We have to share the browser. Yes, screen.
Browser.
I request Dr. Ashok to
Okay.
hear out here.
So now browser is on your screen, Google browser. The software which we are going to use for this bibliography management is Zotero. This is one of the open source software, and it is available free of cost. So Zotero is the website, zotero.org. Is that native? So net is slightly slow, it looks like. Net. Okay. So please wait for some time. There's a this website is not getting open.
Sir, may I suggest that you stop sharing the screen, open up the website? Oh, okay, it's fine.
So now it is available. No, there is no other way. No? Catch it. The software, this application, it is only to show on live. Okay, on the Zotero website, you have the first screen open, and this first one is download Zotero. To download your Zotero, this is a standalone application nowadays. Just click on this whichever browser you are using, it will ask for some security issues, and you just need to get the.
So you can see on the screen, the next screen, the Zotero 5.0 is for Windows. If you are working with Safari, it will show you Safari or Mac. And if you are using Linux, it will show you for Linux. And similarly is the connectors. One, now at present I am using this Chrome. So it is showing the connector with Chrome. So if you are using with Mozilla Firefox, it will show you the Mozilla Firefox sign here, and it will give you the connector for that. So whichever browser you are comfortable, you can use that. So here I am going to download this Zotero 0.5 for Windows. It is a very small software. It is just download here. It is just 40 MB software, and at present I will not download it full here because it is already available in my computer. Once I install this, it will ask only 2 or 3 questions just to license agreement and to install permissions. Next, it may automatically connect to the Zotero connectors, and you need to install this connector. So what happened? This Zotero software is a standalone software available in your computer to manage your all citations. And what Zotero connector is doing, Zotero connector, whenever you connect it with your browser, it's get plugged in into your browser. And the moment your browser see any citation kind of values on the page, it gives you a mark here. You can see here on the left hand side top, there is a page and save to Zotero kind of icon. And if the number of citation kind of things are more, say 4 or 5 citation you are seeing at the same time, then this will show you as a folder. I will show you in due course. So once you install these 2 connectors, so what will happen? One, you will find a connector, an icon here in the form of a bookmark, and save to Zotero is the description for that connector. And now if you open your Word, so here, this is a normal start. You can start with a blank, and here you will find a new toolbar. इसको कोई और भी मैनेज कर सकते हैं? यहाँ पे कुछ ये जो बार-बार आइकॉन्स आ रहे हैं इस टेबल को. So you can see here a Zotero toolbar. In some of the software which were earlier in between, say somewhere around 10 or 12, it may show you in another toolbar called add-ins. So in add-in toolbars, you will see this Zotero icon. So if it is installed there, I have to switch this again and again. Okay. Okay, sorry, I was not using this earlier. So now I can start with Word. So if you want to check whether your Zotero is properly installed in Word, you will find the Zotero icon in the ribbon bar on the top. In some software related, say, earlier version, you will find this Zotero as in add-in bars. So this may be, location may be different, but these icons which you can see on the screen will be the same. So if you have done this exercise of installation, and if you find that these icons are visible, likely that both the softwares have been installed here properly. So now we go back to our browser. So you have seen till now that how to search PubMed. So we will also go to PubMed for some search. In PubMed, you have seen a number of tricks explained by Dr. Jaryal today. And say now if I'm going for a simple search, the blood pressure, I get some articles. Lot of articles I get. I'm not going here in details to explain that which one you should select. I'm going just to tell you that how to use this particular software for Zotero. So there, if the list is there and you have identified some of the articles, then you can go to this icon. You can have another option to select like this. And you have the option to go to Save to Zotero. If you have selected these articles, you can go and say Save to Zotero. Another option you will get from here, My Library. I can create a folder called Blood Pressure, and then I can save all these articles there. So how to create an article, save this. Now I need one more help. Share screen, this one. Which screen is going now? This one. So this is this is actually a Zotero screen. Having 3 windows, 1, 2, and 3. So here I have a library which is more or less similar to My Document kind of a library, as you manage in My Document or the way you manage your folders. Here you have the option to create your folders according to your paper or research topic. Say your first, you can click here on the icon here, which is a folder icon, and you can give it a name. Say if I'm going for blood pressure, and say okay. So I have now one icon here, blood pressure. So now all the article I will select from the web browser, they will all shift to this blood pressure and in the main library as well. So I'll just go to my browser again. So this is my browser. My browser. So now I am in the browser. I have selected few articles. Now I am selecting all the articles just like that. And say save to Zotero, blood pressure library. Okay. It's not showing. This is done actually. It should show actually. It is not taking the स्लो है बहुत। It should show it like a folder here. इसको स्क्रीन में दिख रहा है, शेयर ही नहीं कर पा रहे। Should I show it with the full presentation? अगर वहाँ नहीं आएंगे तो फिर थोड़ा किसी और Okay, I will try to show you through my PowerPoint presentation. So this is an older version, but this concept is the same. So this is only the installation part, which I have already explained. And the plugin for this we have already installed. Now you can see here in the PubMed, I have just selected the word fever, and there are some articles are on display here. So if you can see here, this is a icon of folder, which is visible. If I click on this, I see this kind of window, if your net is properly working, and you will find that the same list is available here in this PubMed results, and the same results are here. So now you can select randomly or as per your choice that which article you want to quote in your papers. And once you select all those articles, say I have just clicked them one after the other and say OK. So once I say OK, these all icons now, all the papers now listed here in this central window. So this is the Zotero window where you will find all these articles have now been stored. So now all the articles are now part of your system, or now is all that data is now stored in the system. It is no more dependent on the web anymore. So now I can go back to my Word file. This is Zotero. Which one is Zotero? I need to see this. अभी तक भी download नहीं कर पाया. So this is the center window where all the citation will get stored. In this particular computer, the number of studies has been included, and there are some articles available in some of these folders. So I will use one of them to show you how this system ultimately works. So I am in library directly. So if these are the articles which I have already available with me, I can see for any of the article that for any article, name of the authors, you can see this is a journal article, this is the title, name of the authors, abstract if available, then the publication, other details which we required for inserting in our citation. So all the details we don't need to copy and paste, and you can just by click, you can get all these informations available. Now we move on to Word once after getting this information here. So now we are in Word. We need to now we are in Word and we need to type some random text here. So I'm just typing R-A and D bracket 3, 4, close, enter. So I have some random text. Don't go about what is written on that text. This is, you can consider it, it is your paper, and you need to insert your first citation here after say video provided. So first thing, you just need to go to the Zotero toolbar. You can see the ribbon. This is the ribbon, and here somewhere you will find Zotero and say add citation. In first go, it will ask you what kind of citation you want to insert. So Vancouver is one of the most popular and common citation style which is used in our universities for thesis writing and most of the time for the paper writing. So Vancouver, we will start with Vancouver, but we will come back to all other required styles for the journal writings. So we'll start with Vancouver. The moment I'll select Vancouver here and say OK, so it gives you one red ribbon kind of windows here and the space for citation. So if I know that which author I need to insert here, I can just type the name of the author. But if I don't remember that which citation I have to insert here, I can just click this down arrow button next to Z and say look for classical view. So now this Zotero नहीं शेयर करना, अगर ऐसे चेंज करेंगे तो फिर बहुत मुश्किल होगा. स्क्रीन शेयर. So now, okay, should I repeat that? The moment you will in the Word files, you type the text, add citation. You will find this red ribbon, and next to this is a classical view. Click it. So you will get the same window which you get when your Zotero is open. And remember one thing here. When you are working in Zotero, either collecting the data from the web or working in Word file, your Zotero software need to be open, right? So if it is closed, it will not work for you. So here in my library, I have so many citations available. But if suppose I have a category that, okay, I'm working on this biomechanical word, and from here I need to select these citations. So this is just for sorting purpose. Everything is available now in my library. So these are only 4 where we have say 6 in this particular section. So I will use this particular folder. So if any one of the citation I can select randomly, not necessary that it need to be first in my list. So I'm just taking this and say OK. So what happened? One is typed in bracket as per the Vancouver style at the place where I want to insert this particular citation. Suppose now I want to insert another citation here, they complement each other. So now I just go for add citation. So, but this time it will just show me the ribbon, not the, it will ask for my style. So classical view, I can see here And now I can select another article and say OK. So now 2 is inserted. Now again I'll go and insert. So 3 is inserted. Now 4 is inserted. Now suppose at some point of time I need to insert multiple citations. So what will happen? Okay, here I need to insert multiple citations. So I go for this classical view. Now there is one option here called multiple source. So multiple source. So which one I need to insert? Say I select 1, 2, and say 3. And remember, this one I have already inserted once in it previously, and maybe, but I don't know which and what number I have given to that. But nothing will happen for your sequencing. Your sequencing will be maintained by this particular software. So we are going to say okay. So 3 to 5. So 1, 2, 3 to 5, 3, and now 4 is already 6 because 4 is incorporated here. So this is the sequence which I am getting here. And now I need to insert my bibliography. So add bibliography. Just click this and all your citations are now inserted as per the Vancouver style in this particular paper. So now, what if I want to change some of them? Suppose this 3, or say this particular area, I cut, paste, and take it before this. So 3 cannot come before 1. So we need to rearrange this whole data. To make it convenient, just select this and say refresh. So now you can see 3 is here, 1 is here. So 1 need to be converted into 2, 3 into 1, and 2 will get converted into 3. So a lot of things will take place simultaneously by just clicking the refresh button. So this is now 1, 2, 3. 1 is repeat, 3, 4, and 6. And so this bibliography will also get changed. You want to see this once again? Suppose I just now take this time, this 3 here. Look at this 3 is now this particular citation. And the rest of the numbers I have not changed. So I just go and say refresh. Now this 3 is here. So 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, and 4, 5, and 6. So all this list is automatically readjusted once again. So till you are inserting your citation in your paper, need not to worry about the sequence from where the list is coming and how the list is coming. Okay, if you want, I can repeat the whole sequence once again. Right? Okay, so my paper first equal R, A, and D 3, 4 or 5, whatever you want, just to fill the page. Start with add citation. Style, we have already decided Vancouver. We are going for the classical view. Can select any of the citation randomly. See here, add citation, randomly, anyone. You can select whichever is required. Suppose now you want to insert anything in between. You click the type cursor there, add citation. It will automatically adjust the number. If you want to insert multiple, add citation, go for classical view, look for this multiple source, select. You can even change the sequence here by doing this up and downs and say OK. Now 2, 3, 5 is inserted, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2, 3, 5. And then you need to add bibliography. Add bibliography. Bibliography will get inserted. Now other icons. So even if you go for any cut paste, the 4 is now before 1. You just need to press the button refresh. Everything will get automatically adjusted. Now, suppose after completing this work in Vancouver style, you want to change the style. So go to the document preference. There is another styles are available here. So Chicago manual style, author date style is a another common style used by the journals. Author date style, and you want to change this particular document into that particular citation style. So just say OK. So now it is in author date style, and you can see here author date style for all the 434 articles. And now this particular list is in alphabetical in order, because as per the Chicago manual style, this is the style which is required in alphabetical order. So whichever style you want, you can change here. There is one more button here, which is called unlink citations. One of the most dangerous button if you are just hit it by mistake. So don't touch this particular button till you complete everything with reference to your paper, and always keep a copy of it. So why this unlink citation button is there? Most of the time when you complete your paper, you add this kind of bibliography, use any kind of software to arrange your bibliography. Once the bibliography is arranged, there is actually a hyperlink between this particular point to that particular citation. This is a backend software which is provided by the backend software work. So the word is now, this particular icon is now linked with this particular line. So this is done. Most of the authors, journals or the editors want that you must submit your paper without this kind of any hyperlinking. They don't want any kind of hyperlinking in the end when you submit your manuscript. So what to do? So your job is first take a copy of your article, save it for the editor in a separate file. So if you have two copies, one with hyperlink copy, another with without hyperlink copy, and send that unhyperlinked copy to the journal. This button you can click at that point of time. But my suggestion, don't do it till you finish your work. finish your article by reviewed by every author, journal, your faculty member, or anyone. Whenever you want to send a copy without unlinked citations, then you must take a copy with you, and then later on you send this particular copy to the journal PDF files. Right? Don't use this icon randomly or just like that, because suppose I use this particular icon right now, so what will happen? I will be able to, this whole text will get converted into just text, not in hyperlink format, and I will not be able to use this Zotero software for my further addition or deletion. For example, if I, after unlinking this citation, I want to insert another citation, then it will be start with 1, not by 6, because 5 are already there. It will not start with 6. It will ignore all this material and it will be considered as only just ordinary text. So this is one important thing. There is another thing is here, that edit bibliography. This, suppose I want to edit and click. So I have these many selected references here. So which one I want to change? So I can just click this. Say, I don't want this. I want, say, this one here, and I replace this. If it is already there, it will not pick up. If I want this, and then I just say, okay. So now it is included, and say, okay. So now it will change the list and arrange the bibliography as per the requirement. So this is for editing. This is to edit citations, and this is for document preference. Now, some of you may ask that there is a list available here for very limited number of journals. How we can get more styles? So we can manage styles from this particular icon. Your internet is required at this stage. You click on that, get additional styles. This will take you to the Zotero website, and it will show you somewhere around 9,000 plus type of journals. This is now coming from the internet. What's slow, right? Internet. Huh? Internet is very slow. Taking a lot of time. So internet is quite slow here when we are using a screen share. Which और option है अभी? Very fast करना होगा. उस करके. So there are so many list of approximately 9,000 plus journals you will find here in different category. Maybe I will show you through browser के through दिखाएं. ये थोड़ा मुश्किल है. नहीं Zotero पहले. Zotero से ही ले रहे हैं. Going to the same place. Okay, no problem. When you will find this list here, you can search any journals. Add-ons दिखाने हैं, different type of journals. Okay, now it is showing the list. It is 9,700 type of journals are available here. If you select any related with dental, so whichever journal you will select, the moment you are there, it will show you the style of the journal. Suppose you want to Australian Dental Journal, just click on this. Very small file will get uploaded and get entered into this list. And the same list you can access in your Word file. So when you are on Word, document preference, and you will find this list here, American Dental Journal, Australian Dental Journal, and say OK. It will convert as per the American Dental Journal style, Australian Dental Journal style. One is superscript 3, 2, 3 to 5, and the list as per their requirement. This is all about how we are using this in MS Word. And now I will explain you some of the application related with Zotero. So Zotero. So this is the screen for Zotero. There are some facilities available here in Edit and Preferences. So first thing you can see here is journal, some basic adjustment